So we finally got a trailer for the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, which honestly reversed my hollowing. However, we still do have to wait a couple months until it drops, since it will be coming in June, but I'm actually not mad about that because at least we got a date. Now I know a lot of you guys have seen the trailer, but I know some of you are not really sure what's really going on. First of all, why are we in the realm of shadows, and what is our purpose there? Who is Mesmer the Impaler, and who is this mother he's referring to in his dialogue? Well, don't worry, because I will try to answer some of these questions with actual information from Miyazaki himself and also some of my own speculation and theories also. But before I do that, I just want to tell you guys that I have a Patreon. Becoming a member there will definitely help my channel out a lot, so if you want to know more about it, then stick to the end of this video. First things first, let's talk about the Realm of Shadows, the area where the DLC takes place. The Realm of Shadow pretty much exists in the same timeline as the main game, which means that this area isn't in the past or in a dream, but instead in its own hidden realm that exists simultaneously with the main game's world. Which means that the events of Shadow of the Erdtree basically takes place in the present, just in a hidden world. Now this means that the tree that we see here is not the same as the Erdtree we currently know. Again, this place is most likely just a twisted shadow version of the lands between, even though it's in, its own completely different realm. Now, some of these info that I'm going to be talking about is basically a translated version of different interviews Miyazaki had about the DLC trailer. So some of these might be a bit off, but I can guarantee you that they're not wrong, just a bit off. One thing a lot of people seem to be asking and trying to figure out is whether or not Miquella is going to be a big part of the DLC. From the interview, Miyazaki stated that we will be following in Miquella's footsteps throughout the DLC to see why he came to the Land of Shadows, and throughout the DLC we're going to be finding out Miquella's true motivation little by little. So it does seem that Miquella is going to be playing a big part in the DLC, at least lore or story wise. There's also going to be other NPCs that's going to be following in Miquella's footsteps, just like us, and they will basically become storytellers of the DLC. Maybe they were there for a long time and when we show up they're going to help us uncover Miquella's motivation. But in the interview, Miyazaki did state that some of these NPCs are going to be our enemies. So those who may oppose Miquella or may be working for him probably don't want us to be there. Another main focus of the DLC is that we will be getting more info on the past of the Realm of Shadows and Queen Marika herself, which I'm excited about because Marika is a character that we know a lot about but so little at the same time. Miyazaki also stated that the Land of Shadow is the place where Marika became a god, and this is also where the golden tree was born. He also mentioned that the lion boss we see in the trailer is part of a culture that existed way before the Erdtree. And from looking at it some more, the lion's head seems to be a mask and the people inside of it are doing some type of dance while fighting us. This dance could also be a part of a ritual, who knows, but the fact that this boss is part of a culture that existed way before the Erdtree goes to show how ancient it probably is. Speaking of ancient, a theme I'm getting watching the trailer is the Crucible, because of the omen horns on the mask or head of the lion and the new Crucible incantations as well. Now the Crucible was an era way before the Erdtree was even a thing. In this age or time period, those who were born omens and misbegottens were seen as a blessing instead of curses. Now we do know that the DLC doesn't take place in the past. However, if I remember correctly, those who were born omens and misbegottens aren't reborn by the Erdtree, so I'm assuming this is where those people go, hence why we see a lot of Crucible imagery. However, again, this is just speculation on my part. Another theory or speculation that I have is that the Realm of Shadows is where the shadows of the Empyreans come from. If you don't know what I'm talking about, some beast-like creatures like Blythe and Malekith are considered shadows. These shadows are creatures that protect their Empyrean. For example, Marika has Malekith and Ronnie has Blythe. Now, a lot of people say that these shadows come from Farum Azula since there are a lot of beastmen there, but I personally think that they have a connection to the Realm of Shadows. Because first of all, it's called the Realm of Shadows. Come on now. Okay, I know that wasn't a super good reason behind my theory, but I'ma still believe in it until the DLC comes out. But theories aside, another thing that Miyazaki talked about was the size of the DLC. He mentioned that it would be the same size as Limgrave, however, some different interview companies stated that it would be a bit larger than that. but I think it's safe to bet that it's going to be the same size as Limgrave. However, FromSoft is always known to downplay the scale of Elden Ring's world, so who knows, it might actually be way bigger than Limgrave. Now let's move on to the person that is basically the poster boy of the trailer, and that's Mesmer the Impaler. We don't know much of Mesmer's origin as yet, however there are a couple things about him that led me to think that he's Marika's son, since he refers to a mother figure in his dialogue, and well, she's a known maternal figure in Elden Ring. And in an interview, a translated one at that, Miyazaki stated that he's in fact Marika's son, but again, this interview is heavily translated, so some things may be incorrect, however I do think this is true. I mean, usually the families of Elden Ring have their names start with a certain letter. For example, the children of Rennala and Radagon names start with R, the children of Radagon and Marika names start with an M, for example Melania and Mikella, and the only exception to this is Mo and Morgott, whose parents are Godfrey and Marika. However, their other son has the G in his name and it's Godwin. Now since this guy's name is Mesmer, which starts with an M, I can definitely see him being Marika's son. However, there is a couple of things that's off about him. First of all, let's talk about the obvious. He looks a lot like Rykard. I mean, there's a snake-like theme going on with both of them. However, it could be that they both probably worship the same snake deity, who knows. But another thing that makes me even more confused about Mesmer is the fact that he uses blood magic, which is definitely not used by any of Marika's children except for Mo, and it's pretty much looked down upon in the Golden Order, which means that Mesmer probably have some connections to Mo and the Formless Mother, since they are associated with blood magic. But that's all I know about Mesmer right now, and I can't wait for the DLC to drop so we can get more information on him. But before we head out, there are a couple of extra info or things I wanted to talk about that Miyazaki stated. He stated that there will be 8 new weapon types in the game, which makes me wonder what some of them could be. Pretty sure the trailer showed some. For example, the twin blade shield thing and the kung fu moveset weapon, but I'm not sure what the rest could be. Another thing that was mentioned is that there will be 10 bosses in the DLC, and some will be optional but just as challenging as Melania, which makes me hella excited for that because I wanted more cool bosses. However, I do wish we had more bosses in the DLC, but at the same time, I'd rather have 10 cool, finely tuned bosses than 30 bullshit ones. So that's about it when it comes on to what the DLC might be about. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, but before I go, I want to let you guys know that I have a Patreon, and again, this will support the channel a lot since editing software can be quite expensive. On the Patreon, you guys will be getting scripts for videos, be able to watch new videos a day or two before they drop, get to submit video idea and topics of your choice for me to cover, and also you might get a chance to win prizes as well. Link is in the description if you are interested. But apart from that, I hope you guys have a good one.